birth certificate. The birth certificate is issued by the Department of Commerce, which seizes upon your given name against the interests of the state where you were born and uses your given name to create a person, which is not born, but birthed. And that really should be spelled as birth, B-E-R-T-H, as in a vessel, because that's how they treat you. They treat you as a vessel. With the birth of this person, you, the baby, are declared civilly dead, and your name and estate are deemed granted to the British Crown, the banks, and the judiciary as chattel property, the cargo of a vessel in commerce. The birth certificate is proof that your natural political status was changed without your knowledge or consent, and that you and your estate were seized upon by the District of Columbia Municipal Corporation in criminal malfeasance and act of war against an innocent non-combatant vessel that is owed protected status. So the purposes for your birth certificate is that it is an insurance indemnity receipt, which is required under Lieber Code and Hague Conventions. They have to give you an indemnity receipt for the property they are stealing from you, essentially an insurance policy guaranteeing that your property won't be harmed as a result of their use of it. This makes you the subrogee, the insured party and priority creditor of your own estate holdings. This process of registration, as opposed to recording, creates a separate person named after your given trade name, yet owned and operated by a franchise of the municipal United States. The separate government of Washington, D.C., operated as an international city-state by the members of Congress. The birth certificate is a bond. Literally, it is a bond issued against the value of the estate. And more recently, since 2015, a public transmitting utility, assets that belong to you. A bond is an IOU, a promise to pay under stipulated conditions. You have the certificate proving that you are the actual owner of the assets being bonded. But until and unless you claim your exemption from their system of things, the benefit of the bond goes to the state or department that is insuring your purloined property against loss or damage. There are two prominent dates displayed on the certificate. One is your actual birth day. The other is the file date, when the person, a corporate municipal franchise, was created and replaced you as the beneficiary of your own assets. So you, the living man or woman, have a birthday, and the corporate franchise person named after you has a birth date, which is always a few days or weeks after your actual birthday. In effect, the birth certificate records the death of your claim to own your own estate and your trade name, and the birth of the federal person's claim upon your assets. You are always the holder in due course, the party having the first claim, first in line, first in time, to the trade name and estate. But if you don't claim it or know how to claim it, you are out of luck and disinherited. The birth certificate is signed by the registrar, an officer of the probate court, which proves that your estate was probated. The living American state national, for example, the Minnesotan, named William Bales Jensen, was taken off the title of his natural estate and his natural nationality and political status, and was changed to William Bales Jensen, a federal municipal franchise corporation and citizen of the United States. That is a citizen under the diversity clause of the old federal code, which allows corporations to be citizens. The process of false probate just described the results in the unlawful conversion of your name and estate assets, making you a U.S. citizen instead of an American state national. It removes you from the jurisdiction of the land and deprives you of your constitutional protections, makes you indebted and obligated to pay the bills of foreign corporations, and otherwise plays havoc with you and your entire country. So it's unlawful conversion and human trafficking, because they unlawfully converted your name and then they trafficked you from one jurisdiction to the other. Why is your birth certificate on bond paper? The birth certificate is issued on bond paper, giving you silent notice that the assets named on the face of the document, your unlawfully converted estate assets, including the copyright to your trade name, your land, your labor, and everything that you could ever own, has been seized upon and bonded by the organization issuing the certificate. The other thing that people need to grasp is that they themselves are the only source of the supposed wealth. Bonds are debts. They are promises to pay. And what are they paying with? Debt notes, FRNs. Your work and your labor and even your body has been pledged by these bastards so that they could borrow virtually unlimited credit in your name. And so they have. Just like any identity thief, they have used your name and borrowed your assets from others using you, your labor, your land, your homes, and your business as collateral. These criminals have borrowed vast sums of money against you and your public and private assets, using the borrowed money to benefit themselves and their cronies, pushed the credit cards as far as they will go, and then bowed out and sought bankruptcy protection for themselves, while leaving you named as the secondary, responsible for paying back all of that money they borrowed and gave away or squandered or reinvested for their own benefit. This is done without your knowledge or consent, without your parents' knowledge or consent. And the people doing get some feedback. We'll need to mute. Thank you. All right. This is done without your knowledge or consent, without your parents' knowledge or consent, and the people doing this to you are on your payroll, supposed to be rendering you good faith service to the whole while. Because you don't know that this is being done to you and that these false claims against you are being made, you have no opportunity to object to them, much less delve through it to rebut all these lies and claim your exemption and exercise your indemnity. For many years, the U.S. corporation seized upon your given Christian trade name, just as you were taught to print it in first grade with a first name, middle name, and a last name, all written in upper and lowercase, like this, John Michael Doe. So that's a proper case trade name. How can you tell the difference between a Cestui v. estate trust and a public transmitting utility? The estate trusts are all named with the full first, middle, and last names appearing in all capital letters. Anytime you see things in all caps, that signifies municipal, corporation. Public transmitting utilities all appear with only a middle initial, but still in all capital letters, John M. Doe. And recently they started changing this, so it just is John M. Doe. Please note that any name in any style that only uses a middle initial is not a legal name. It is meaningless and void for lack of specificity. Okay, I'm wondering if I think I skipped this one. No, I think we got that. Okay, so here we're going to look at the diagram of the fraud, and I'm probably going to switch. Well, maybe I can make this bigger. Here we go.
Terry, I don't know if you're reading questions in the chat, but there's a couple of people that are asking, is there a place that confirms the birth certificate scam? And then someone else says that her family or his family said that this is all crap and made up, and they cannot show where this large and small letters actually mean anything. And they would like to know about the unbiased source that says this as well.
We'll get there.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep, my pleasure. Okay, so, and yes, your friends and your family are very heavily indoctrinated, and it's up to you to kind of help break through the indoctrination, but you have to do it slowly. You can't red pill them. You can't force them to drink from a fire hose. You have to just plant little seeds with great love. But I'm going to give you a lot of ammunition here today. Okay. So this is the diagram of the fraud. So this is your trade name. You're a little baby, and they are going to unlawfully convert you and human traffic you into not just one, but into 3 different forms. So when they register, when the registrar signs that birth certificate and they register you, then that's when the infant decedent estate is created. And that in the old days was using your first, middle, last name. And that was a special purpose vehicle that they had created for you. And most recently, as of 2015, they created another special purpose vehicle because this one had been bankrupted. So then they needed to create a new special purpose vehicle. And that's when you began to receive mail addressed to your transmitting utility name. Now in the municipal, it's going to be all caps. But in the territorial, it's going to be proper cased. And then, so they've stolen all your assets. They've stolen all your labor, all your resources. And because you own nothing, you have nothing, then you have to be taken care of as a ward of the state, which is right down here. So it always pays to pay attention. Whenever you get a bill, whenever you get a credit card, look at what's on the credit card. And so for those people who are just starting to train their family and friends, ask them why, you know, normally you just do your name, proper case, but why is everything in their wallet in all caps?